87 days to go now until the World Cup begins. It's just around the corner. That's less than 3 months. And we thought we'd take a look at some big players whose form is heading in the wrong direction ahead of the big show. Ian, you've picked 3 of players whose stock is heading down. Not great at all this season as we work towards the World Cup in the USA, Canada and Mexico. And you have begun with a Canadian, haven't you?
I have. I've begun with Jonathan David for Canada. Now, form has been a bit of an issue for him. Certainly disappointing since his time at Juventus. This has been his first year at the club. 5 goals in Serie A from 35 shots taken, 15 shots on target from 28 games. Adam, let me repeat myself. 15 shots on target in 28 games. If you look at what he's doing in the Champions League, it's a couple of goals in 9 Champions League appearances, which is massively disappointing for a player that I thought would absolutely ball out by the time he went to Italian football, and he was the perfect fit for Juventus as well to fire them to the next level. The statistics don't lie. Of course, before he went to Juventus, where was he scoring goals? That was in French football for Lille. His seasons went like this: 25 goals, 26 goals, 26 goals, 19 goals. So why would Juventus not take a jump on someone they could get for next to nothing and absolutely hope that it worked out? Well, it didn't quite work out for him. Right now, I expected goals. I expected so much goals from him. Didn't think that Juventus would accept this. I actually still don't think Juventus will accept this. And I actually think that Jonathan David won't be at the club next season. I think he moves next season.
And there has been a lot of chatter on social media over the last week or so about potentially him moving on somewhere else.
Yep.
Where does he go? Is it a case of Italian football doesn't suit his style of play? Is he going to maybe try and move to England?
No, I just don't think he's helped himself by his form. I don't think taking your opportunities. You remember the Panenka penalty that he took the one time in Serie A when he should have scored. That would have broken, I think it was like 12 games that he hadn't scored a goal in. And you have a moment from the penalty spot. I actually think you lose faith with your teammates, and I think you lose faith in a manager who's quite strict to actually get it right at Juventus and also win the fans back. When you're not scoring goals, strikers need fans. So I think that potentially, where is he going to go? I think Premier League's probably out because of the failure at Juventus Football Club. Maybe Spain's an option for him, but most likely he'll end up back in France. That's where you know he can score goals. Now, one club right now that's already been rumoured that I think would be a good shout is Marseille, because they're in a battle, obviously, right now for the Champions League. If they get there, they need a striker. Who have they got scoring goals for them right now? Pierre-Emerick, 40-year-old Aubameyang. I mean, he's getting older now, Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. He's going to be done by the end of the season. So I think they need a red-hot striker, someone that they know they can rely on. Marseille is a good fit because it's a passionate base, a team that could potentially, if they get it right, challenge PSG at the top of the table.
And speaking of challenging, if Canada want to challenge at all, even in the group stages of the World Cup, they need him. He is their talisman, the only guy who looks like he can really lead their line in terms of scoring goals.
It's a great point, and that's why we're having this discussion. The national team is the one that's going to suffer because of the lack of confidence. And you can't exactly say that his goal scoring form for the national team is excellent. 37 goals in 73 appearances. Jesse Marsch needs this guy confident. Maybe it's also the breakaway from the pressure from Juventus. He goes to the national team and he starts banging goals in this World Cup. So I hope that's the case because I do like Jonathan David. Certainly did like him in French football. In Italian football, I don't think it's the right fit.
Jonathan David must do better. Who must do better for the second player you've chosen?
I'm going for an Englishman in my second one. I'm going to Phil Foden. Do you like that one?
I'm hard to disagree. Hard to disagree. And I think given that attacking midfield positions, those 3 or 4 positions in the midfield for England, anyone's guess as to who Thomas Tuchel is going to pick. And at the moment, he's certainly not going to be putting Phil Foden in his starting lineup.
All right, let's break down the stats as to why Phil Foden's on the list. If you look back at the 23-24 season, he scored 27 goals across all competitions, and he scored 19 goals solo in the Premier League that season, which is absolutely remarkable. I have no idea what happened to Phil Foden. 10 goals in 45 appearances, all competitions, nowhere near good enough this season. But it started off a little bit brighter and then all of a sudden completely faded out. In 2026 alone, 0 goals scored across all competitions. In 2026 alone, 1 assist across all competitions for Phil Foden. He's not starting every game for Manchester City right now, which is absolutely a worry. And I think it was also a worry for Pep Guardiola. He went out and brought in Semenyo. He went out and brought Marmoush. He went out and brought Cherki. I mean, he brought in so many different players to try and replace De Bruyne. And I think he was also a little bit concerned about what Phil Foden did and has been doing. 26 matches, 7 goals, 3 assists in the Premier League this season is a massive disappointment. For many players, you would say that's not bad, but he doesn't look like he's the right player. Now, what's gone wrong? Reduced playing time, obviously, because he's not been in form. I think injuries have not been his friend. I also read personal issues getting in the way. Now, I know mental fatigue sometimes can get the better of you. Phil Foden started incredibly young. He was really young. He came firing out the gates. Everybody loved him. Then that season 23-24 where he was phenomenal, he then maybe reached a bit of burnout. And I think that can happen to the best players. What Phil Foden has done in his career from beginning to where he's at now is truly exceptional. What happens off the field, let's not forget, he's got kids. As a young father there. Also dealing with what happens at home and dealing with professional soccer at the highest level. It's not easy to do. So I worry about him personally. I worry about where his mentality is right now. If you look at the competition, I mean, it's across the board for England right now. Even in the position that he plays. You've got Rashford, you've got Eze, Cole Palmer, Bellingham, Saka, Morgan Rogers. All of these players battling for his spot in that England team. I'm going to throw it out there that I think Phil Foden's form right now in 2026 means that he could be the one that completely misses out on the World Cup roster. And that's a big worry for me.
I think as well, given the team he's playing in, I'm talking about Manchester City, and you mentioned all of the options that Pep has going forward, because he's not been playing well, he's not going to have that many opportunities between now and the end of the season to actually turn his form around. He's not, what I'm saying is he's not in a team where he's going to be in the starting lineup pretty much every week and has time to work his way back into it.
Well, to your point, because I'm such a loser, I dive into the stats even more so, and I figured out that he played 169 minutes of Premier League action since the beginning of February. Now, I am a little bit crazy for digging into the stats to figure that out, but I also dived a little bit further.
Loser.
490 minutes since the turn of the year. If you put that to equivalent, that's about 5 full games of action. It's just not good enough from him. His talent is truly immense, and we all know he's a world beater when he's on his game. But what happened to Phil Foden? That's the question, right? We want to see the best version of Phil Foden. I think Manchester City are a better, more competitive team when Phil Foden's fit and healthy and playing his best football. But I'm really concerned about him. And absolutely, at this point right now, England fans should be as well.
Yeah, need to find some form very quickly, Phil Foden. Who's number 3?
I've gone for Nico Williams for the Spanish national team. Obviously a Euro 2024 winner with Spain. Sorry, Adam. I do think he was an absolute class player during that tournament. I thought he was a bit of a difference maker for Spain on the wing, the way he actually impacted that. Copa del Rey winner in 2024 with Athletic Bilbao as well. Also has experienced a little bit of success and then somewhat gone off the boil. 5 goals, 2 assists in his first ever UEFA appearance, of course, in 24-25 season in the Europa League. And then there's this season. 4 goals, 3 assists in 26 games across all competitions. 3 Champions League appearances, 0 goals. Nowhere near good enough. He has 1 goal in 26 alone in La Liga. Form has obviously dipped massively, that Valverde has come out in the press and put a bit of pressure. What's wrong with my player? Where is my Nico Williams? Also has questioned the mentality of Nico Williams, because remember, if you go back to pre-season last year, what was happening? Rumours of Barcelona. Did his head turn? Where is his commitment to the club? Eventually he decided to stay at Athletic Bilbao, but potentially that move to Barcelona would have been a better fit for him, especially for his career in the long run. He stayed at the football club, his form has dipped, all of a sudden he's got problems mentally as well, and now we're starting to see rumours that there's a bigger offer coming in from Manchester United.
Well, that's the thing. If you look at that move to Barcelona, now you're thinking, well, he was better off making it. It would have been very competitive. Obviously, Barcelona have so many attacking options. It wasn't a given that he would be in the starting lineup. Look at Marcus Rashford. He's played brilliantly for Barcelona in many games and is still working to try and get...
Well, that would have been him.
But that's what I mean. That's what I'm saying, is that, yes, I know it was a risk for him to go to a side that he didn't necessarily know that he was going to be in the starting lineup. But maybe he made that call looking ahead to the World Cup thinking, well, if I'm not playing, maybe then I'm not going to be playing for Spain either.
I don't think that Athletic Club Bilbao are in the position they're in if they have Nico Williams firing on all cylinders. I mean, it's simply said, Spain would be in a better position when Nico Williams is playing his best football, similar to what we witnessed in 2024 through the Euros. He was absolutely terrific. He was electrifying, frightening for defenders. He was mesmeric the way he moved with the ball at his feet, as we also mentioned through that Copa del Rey season when they went on to win the title. And then, of course, in the Europa League, I thought he was excellent as well, that first European season ever in his career. But what's gone wrong? Sometimes when these players get all of that success, it can go to their head. Yes, I don't think that's happened to any of these players that we're talking about. Jonathan David, Phil Foden, Nico Williams. You have to question all 3 of them for their mental state. They've gone through so much. All of these games, all of these competitions takes its toll at the end of the day, and at some point you're going to have a dip in form. Unfortunately for these three that I've selected, it's happened at a terrible time. It's right ahead of the World Cup.